We're
Boom.
live. We're
We're
live. Oh, we're
live.
live. We did it. Say hi to
All right.
Liam and Tanya.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Happy to have everybody on board. Tonight we have a very special guest with us, Tana, down. I think she's below me. Will she be below? Yeah, hopefully she's below. And we've been working with Tana for, I don't know, the last 2, 3 weeks, a month now, and we just thought it was a great opportunity this evening just to get her on board for a genuine chat. So, Tana, thank you for being with us this evening. Do you want to talk about I don't know, your challenges throughout your life with, I don't know, maybe dieting and how you found the ketogenic diet?
Yeah, thanks guys for inviting me. So like I've had weight challenges pretty much off and on since I was about 10 or 11. So as you can imagine, I've probably done every like fad diet out there from, Jenny Craig to, Weight Watchers to all of them. So I kind of stumbled upon the ketogenic diet during the Atkins kind of like craze. Um, But I think a lot of people misunderstood like Dr. Atkins, and I did a lot of reading on my own and kind of informing myself and realized that he wasn't really saying you could eat like, you know, a pound of bacon and, a half a dozen eggs. There was a lot to the science behind it. And if you really listen to him, there was a lot of good science behind it. So I think that his idea kind of evolved into the whole ketogenic lifestyle that we like know today. So I kind of like have been like on and off ketogenic for about the last 10 or 15 years.
And I know we were just talking before we jumped on live there, and you were saying that you have had some challenges in the past there with, like being able to get into like a good keto state. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And then Dustin, maybe if you can tell us like how that happens and why that happens, not just for Tana, but for people in general. So yeah, tell us about those challenges that you're facing on sort of like, I know you're a very informed person and you were doing like blood testing and all that, weren't you?
Yeah, I actually one of the first things that one of my people that I was talking with told me to do is go buy a inexpensive meter like the where you could test your ketones, and I was, doing 20 grams of carbohydrates or less per day and was only poking like a point 0.3. So that's actually with my blood glucose meter. I do have like, a sluggish thyroid, and I do have like I don't have any other health issues. I don't have any, other major health issues other than I've been overweight, like I said, most of my life. And now I'm 56. So I know that like weight and age and all that stuff play into a lot of it.
Well, I'd like to hop in here. And first off, I was looking for my blood meter, but basically it's like a glucose meter, but it's for ketones. So you poke your finger
I have
and then
mine
you
out. You're
push
right.
out the blood, you wipe it off, push it out again, and then you have to calibrate the meter and then get a ketone level. In point 0.3 ketones is not therapeutic. It's a small level of ketones. So people that are trying to elevate their ketone levels, they are going to be point 0.3 at parts of the day, but you want to keep them elevated to more of a therapeutic above 0.5, 1.5 are more ideal. And just so everybody knows, I'm not a huge fan of doing that consistently. As long as you have the right formulating results. If you're not getting results, we may have to check in from time to time. But what's interesting, Tanya, I know that after you drank ketones, you drank this amazing product. What did your ketone levels go to after you did that?
It went from point 0.3 to 1.9. So that's pretty amazing. And I was just kind of messing with it, because you want as they say, as my grandma used to say, the proof is in the pudding. So I was gonna like see like if it worked, and I drank my drink, and about an hour later I did my stick test, and I went from like point 0.3 to 1.9.
Wow.
So
So
yeah, that's
why
pretty
this
good.
matters so much, y'all, is the what's funny, Liam, I saw somebody was coming in my room and it was it was your room. I was like, wait a minute, my wife's not here. But what's funny about that is, or what's important about that is that when you get to that 1.9 or above 1 or zero point 0.5, what happens is that it has a huge impact on your cognition, how your muscle preservation is, how your heart functions, how your body functions. So you're going to be more disciplined when it comes to carbohydrate eating, or you're going to feel like you want to move more, or you're going to sleep better, or your joints are going to be more loose, and you're going to ultimately feel better towards your goal. So having that higher number is really, really important. But there's something I want to mention, Tanya, is that let me ask you this question. When you saw the 0.3, did you feel discouraged at all or feel like you're
Yeah,
doing something
it's
wrong?
definitely discouraging when you're sticking to a 20 carb or lower like per day. So you're giving up, some things that you like. Obviously, having done keto for quite off and on for quite a long time, I stopped eating a lot of the stuff. There's obviously some things that I would like to have, like I like baked potatoes and
Right.
stuff like that. So you're giving up things to switch to a different lifestyle, but you're not really seeing results. So yeah, you do start to get kind of frustrated with it.
Right. And then what happens is people then quit and they stop because they were like, what's the point? Why do I keep doing this and it's not going to result? So I want to take everything really quick in the chat. If you can put down in the chat, if you had one of those sticking moments where you feel like things aren't working the way they should be. And I'm not going to get too nerdy here, but just a little bit. Yes, you're 55. Yes, your hormones have changed. All those things do matter. They have an impact, right? But there's something that's really important that I express, and there's some new research that's come out where, because what I'm going to share with you might have started when you were 10 years old. So it's like almost not even your fault anymore. I mean, if it happens to us when we're kids, because our parents' choices, like my parents' choices were not great for me when I was a kid. And some of the challenges started when I was 10 or 8. So I'm trying to correct them now, but I'm holding myself this at high standard and not getting results. So there's a thing called the GLUT4 transporter, and it's a mechanism that if it's not activated or active, you can't metabolize body fat, even on a perfectly formulated ketogenic diet. So the best diet in the world for you to get healthier or burn fat, you may not be able to get long-term results on it because this thing isn't activated. So they studied our product. They study a lot of things, but one of them was our product. Well, our product actually activates that GLUT4 transporter. And this is roughly anywhere from 40 to 60% of us watching this have that as a deactivated transporter. So as a trainer, I used to tell my clients, I get mad at them, like, it's your fault. You're doing this. You need to do this better. That glass of wine, that piece of chocolate messed everything up. And the reality is it probably wasn't any of those things. It most likely was this activator. So we have to keep it activated. So you're now in a path to activate that GLUT4 transporter and balance out some of those hormonal things that are going on to ultimately get the results you're looking for and sustain it. And maybe you won't even have to follow a full ketogenic diet to do that. Maybe it's going to be a hybrid down the road with drinking ketones. So I want to share that with everybody. If you feel sometimes that you're fighting uphill and not getting the results you wanted.
Yeah, and
Hey,
I know I
Dustin, to
share.
keep, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to keep Tana sort of on that sustained path, what sort of, things should she be doing or continue to do or add in to, keep getting those results? Now, I mean, obviously it's not all about just getting a high ketone level. What are
Right.
some other things that she could add in or start doing or changing along the way?
Yeah, well, one of the things that people don't realize, and I know Tanya has a little bit of a respiratory thing going on right now, so we're encouraging her to move her body. But when your body metabolizes and burns body fat, you have to excrete out the aftermath, right? The exhaust of the fat. And there's 3 ways that your body does that. One's through urine, one's through sweat, and one's through your breath. So what's important about that is stay hydrated and physical activity, because you breathe more and you're more likely to sweat. So physical activity will be very, very important. Now, that doesn't have to be CrossFit, which Liam and I are all for. All for. It doesn't have to be running marathons. You have to just start moving your body. If it's start with walking, but you do have to advance that as you get in better shape. You're going to want to challenge yourself a little bit more, because otherwise you're not going to get as much breath or as much sweat coming out. So, Liam, I would say those two, water and exercise or activity, is really important. We can talk about sleep in there is really important too. And then the last thing is fasting. Fasting has been proven now to be one of those key components to not only short-term success, but long-term success.
And what does that look like for you, Tana? Like, are you someone that's sort of fasting at the moment, would you say? Or are you a breakfast person? Or like, let's
So
give you some skills and tools that we can maybe help you with that.
one of the things I started doing when I joined that 10-day challenge that you guys had on the keto beginners page, one of the things I did was, because I'm not much of a breakfast person, I'm a late riser, is I just started intermittent fasting. So I get up in the morning, I drink my keto drink, and then I don't eat anything until 12. And then like I'll eat at 12 if I'm hungry. Sometimes I don't eat till 2 or 3 because I'm not hungry. Um, so I just kind of eat when I'm hungry. What you'll notice when you're on the when you do the keto OS, like, is that you're not hungry.
Right. So what happens when your ketone levels get higher? It has an impact on hormones, ghrelin, that actually triggers hunger. So what's happening is your body now, it can be more sustainably tapping into your fat stores that provides the energy you need. So that's why we like the intermittent fasting. And then long term, we do teach some cycling fasting, meaning that you're going to want to feed every once in a while. But as a whole, intermittent fasting is a great way to start fasting approach to maximize your experience and results. And they show people that might only eat one meal a day if they have enough body fat and they're tapped into their fat stores. Some people do 2 a day. Liam and I probably are primarily 2 a days. Some days I do 3, but most of the time I just do 2 meals a day, and every once in a while I just do 1.
Yeah, usually I either eat 2 or just 1. A lot of times if I make it till 3 o'clock, I'll just eat a snack, like a light snack, and then wait till dinner time and then eat my dinner. Also, I did pick up your one of the packages of iFast, so I'm looking forward to doing the iFast.
Yeah, I get mine in soon, Tana. We're going to do it together, so I'm really excited about that as well. Yeah, and I know you've had some really good results lately because I saw a little post there on social media. Tell everyone about the results that you've got in there had in just the last little
So,
while.
like, my first goal was, because I told Liam that I was at 388, and when you weigh that, you can't like buy a treadmill. Like, they want you to buy like a Bowflex. They're like 18.99 because the weight ratings there's not very many weight rated treadmills out there that aren't like $2,000. So my first goal was to lose enough to buy one that I could afford that was, in a decent price range. So I had to drop about 40 pounds to do that. And I did that pretty quickly. And I got my treadmill. And now I'm just working on my next goal, which is I'm just going to do it. One of my, it's not really pertains to weight loss, but it does kind of pertain to weight loss. My favorite programming teacher used to say, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." Um, she was talking about computer bites, but it's still a good analogy. I mean,
Right.
seriously, like and I think Liam and Dustin, we were all talking about this. You can really self-sabotage yourself by making the goals unattainable.
Right.
And then like the negative self-talk, I was talking about that earlier. So you have a bad day, and then instead of like just brushing it off and worrying about the next day, you beat yourself up. And you
Yeah.
consistently do that, and then you give up.
And it's super
So
important as well that when things do slow down or they do stop, lean on us to maybe ask the questions of like, so why is that happening right now? Once again, I'm doing this right, I'm doing that right, I'm doing this right, and I'm doing that right. And what I find all the time is people don't know what they don't know, right? You could be doing something that you think is, tip top, spot on, the right thing to be doing. But where you're at in your journey, you may be thinking or doing it a little bit too early or a little bit too late or not in the right place. So, Dustin, if we could give Tana maybe give her 3 tips for the next 3 months of her next journey that are going to help her stay sustainable, stay on the road, and I guess the main thing is just be happy where she's at.
Yeah, I think the number one tip you want to have is what is one thing that you're excited to do or see or be in 3 months? Like, what's that one thing? Maybe it's you're looking forward to a trip. Maybe it's you want to fit into a certain piece of clothing. Maybe it's you want to go for a 5K walk. But do you have one thing that you're ultimately looking forward to achieving or doing or seeing in the next months?
So like not necessarily in the next few months, but I do have a lot of stuff I want to do like that I can't do. Like,
Like,
so I think I shared with Liam that I had knee replacements. So like I want to get like back to where I can walk and, like ride a bike and do hiking, which I did before, and, ride
well,
horses,
that's perfect.
stuff like that.
So in 3 months, right? Let's set a goal. Let's set let's say that there's a hike you want to do, right? I want you to write that hike down. Take some pictures if you have pictures of it. Put it up in your house, because what happens is if there's not something drawing you to moving forward, it's easy to slip back, right? So then what we can do is when you're on your treadmill or you're on your bike or you're moving your body a little bit at home, we can set a goal that moves you towards that destination. I would put that picture right up on your workout machines so that you can see what you're working towards.
Right.
Same thing with clothing. I like people when they put their clothing on is like put a piece of clothing on that doesn't fit very well. Hang it up in the back of your bathroom door, and every 2 weeks I want you to try it on, and you're going to go until it fits. And then when it fits, you go celebrate. Do something that celebrates yourself moving in the direction of where you're going.
And I want to interject like that one of the videos you guys shared and during the challenge, I think it was in one of the emails, was about the non-scale victories. And that's really important to focus on, because like I just posted a picture of me like in a shirt like that's one size smaller than I was wearing. So those are those non-scale victories that you need to focus on. And then yesterday I had to order a what do you call it, self-adjustable belt, because I just bought like a whole bunch of jeans and now they don't fit. So I figured I'm just gonna like buy
What
a
a
belt.
horrible problem to have.
This keto thing can be expensive. You have to buy all new clothes.
Oh,
and then
gee,
the
that's
last
a real
one,
shame.
the
Most
last
women
one I
would
would
love
tell
that.
you is this. I would say find a tribe. You know, we're going to help you do that too, and find a tribe to do this with others. What I can tell you is having a goal or a vision or a destination, assessing yourself with a clear mind and a clear vision with your clothing, and then having a tribe to go do it with will ultimately lead you to greatest successes. And we're here to coach you and be the coaches behind the scenes and help you guide you through that journey. But to me, those are the secret weapons for the long-term success. The next 3 months, as we do that, you get 5, 10 people doing this with you, and you're now accountable to them. You're becoming their coach. It brings more power to you to help you stay accountable.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have one friend doing it with me now, so like it does really help if you have other people around you that can encourage you when you're having those days. And that's the reason I like the Keto for Beginners website too, because we all kind of like are on there trying to support each other. So, when you have that bad day, like you can shrug it off a whole lot easier if you have somebody to talk to
Yep.
than if you're just kind of talking to yourself. And like I said, watch out for that negative self-talk. Just kind of blow yourself off and tell yourself, no, I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah, and it can be challenging sometimes, right? Like everybody does it, like
everybody does it. We're all our own worst enemies.
That's why Dustin and I always like, try and get people on board, like programs, coaching programs, free groups, whatever it is, because you look at a professional athlete. A professional athlete is the best athlete in the world, but they've got coaches and they've got nutritionists and they've got all this team on their side. I can say to anybody out there right now, name a professional athlete that's done it alone.
Yeah, there isn't one.
There isn't one, right?
Nope, not at all.
But you really do have to watch out for the negative self-talk, because you can really self-sabotage yourself. I know I've done it, a lot in my lifetime, and that's what I was telling you in the beginning. Like, you can really self-sabotage yourself, and like you lose your momentum, and then like you get disgusted, and then you just quit. And then 10 years later, you find yourself in the same place. So, like learn from my mistakes and don't like self-sabotage yourself.
It's called wisdom.
Every day is a new day. Shrug it off and go forward. That's my.
And Dustin says it all the time, right, Dustin? What percentage do you reckon the mindset is when on a?
I say it's 70%. I sometimes fight between 60 and 70%, but I think the mindset of it is because people know what to do. They just something interferes with it.
You can really be your own worst enemy, honestly.
Usually,
like, I've been there. So, like I said, my motto is like every day is a new day. So, like I just approach every day as like a new day. Like, so yesterday was a bad day. Today's going to be a better day. So
100%, one bite at a time, right? One bite at a time.
I try, and my only other advice would be to track what you're eating, because you really don't realize what you're eating until you become accountable for it. So I track what I eat, and eventually you won't have to do it because you'll be aware. But in the beginning, it's really important, because you don't realize all the stuff you're sticking in your mouth until you have to write it down.
Right. I know when I started fasting longer, I realized how much little food I would put in my mouth for my kids.
Right. Like
I was like, oh, I didn't realize. I didn't even think about that. There's a lot of these little things that I was doing that I didn't realize I was even doing. Even if it was low carb, I was still doing it, not thinking about it.
Some things we need to think about too that are like low carb things we're picking up are not necessarily the greatest.
Right.
Like I know I was chewing a lot of gum, and one of the people I was talking to is like, "Ooh, that's one of the bad ones." Like, did you look at the
Right.
sugar alcohol they're using? So be aware of what you're putting in your mouth that's low carb necessarily isn't, make sure you're reading the labels and
I
are
mean,
aware
you are an amazing coach. Like we
of
don't need
what
to be
you're
on this live. You can just you can do it yourself. I do want
No,
to
it's
answer one. I want to
it's
answer
more
one
fun to like
question,
work
Craig.
with other people.
Well, you're going to do
It's nice
amazing
to
on
have
that.
that community sense, and like the people like to help you along the way.
Well, I want to just answer one question the lady
Sure.
dropped in there, and I thought it was a really good question. So I'm going to pop it up here. I might do a live on it a little bit later. She had said, because you're not hungry, do you need to worry about the calories you take in if you're not getting enough in? And I thought this was a really good question because you want to think about two things. The more that you're restricting your calories, the more that you're fasting, the more important the quality of your food is. Just like the more, like, remember back in the day, if you exercise a lot, you thought you could get away with not eating as well. Well, I exercise a lot, so I can eat crappy. No, the truth is if you exercise a lot, your demand for high quality food goes up because you're putting higher stress on your body. So if you're a person right now that's doing some intermittent fasting or doing OMAD or doing one meal a day, I have some different fasting cycles that I like. The quality of your nutrients are really important because you need to still get a very good balanced diet, even though you're eating less. Second thing is that I don't encourage people to go low calorie for a long period of time. So I like people to cycle their calories, meaning that once a week, maybe twice a week. At the beginning, you can go a little further with low calorie, but long term, you're going to want to cycle your calories, not carbs necessarily, calories. So I have a couple of days where you eat more than you would otherwise, and this
And
teaches your body not to slow down your
what would
metabolism.
what would
So
your
just
recommendations be on calories? Like, what's a good range? I guess.
That's a great question. That's going to vary based off of size, activity level, male, female, muscle mass. So you're looking at the like the average. They say women 1,500 and men at 2,000. I rarely ever find that to be actually that accurate, but just keep that in mind. Is I would look at it this way. There's a really good calculator out there if you just type in calorie counter, and it gives you a pretty good judgment based off your activity levels. But don't ever hold that as true, because if you've been on diets your whole life, you may not actually fit the mold. You might have slowed your metabolism down. And what happens when you do that and you start eating their amount of calories, you start gaining weight because your metabolism's slower. So what I always tell people, that's why I like starting out lower and start moving towards fat burning, because psychologically, if you don't start losing, you quit and move on. So I'd rather start lower and slowly work your way back up. And then once you find like a maintenance and you're not losing any more body fat, then we kind of know that that's probably a pretty safe place of your metabolism based off your current body type, your activity levels, and your muscle mass. Now, if you increase your exercise or if you lose a bunch of weight, your calories may have to fluctuate a little bit, right? If you lose 100 pounds and you're the same muscle mass, you're not actually burnt. You're not using as many calories for the day if you're doing the same activity. Does that make sense? Because your body doesn't have to carry 100 pounds everywhere. So your calories have to be adjusted off of that. Most likely your calories will actually go down after you lost 100 pounds, just naturally, because you're carrying less weight. So there's a lot of factors in there. So I don't like to overthink that. Typically, especially if you're drinking ketones and you're following our plans, you're going to kind of solve the problem in itself, because you're not going to be super hungry. When you are hungry, feed the warrior, because your body's telling you it needs energy. And if you learn how to listen to that, it gets really good. Even on ketones, there's days that you're going to be more hungry with ketones. That tells you your body's looking to be fed, not necessarily binge eat on pizza, but eat higher quality foods at a higher amount.
I don't know if you saw that comment down there. Doctors Corso, is it? He's done some research of his own on the keto products, and I'll say they're really amazing and unique. I must applaud you guys for your work. I wish I had made it. I wish I made those products.
I helped launch it. That's I got that one, but yeah, it's been a great journey, and to have bioidentical pure therapeutic ketones with the most natural products out there, it's pretty special. I mean, I think it's going to be the biggest breakthrough of our lifetime, if not the century. And I hope not, in at least the health and wellness space. But right now it's pretty amazing what it does.
I just want to jump in real quick because I've tried a bunch of different keto products. This is the first keto product that actually lives up to what it actually says it's going to do. Like you take the keto pills, they say, oh, you're going to go into ketosis. Not. So this is the first product that I've actually taken that actually said it was going to boost my ketones and actually did. So it's pretty amazing, honestly.
I think that's
truly is.
amazing, and I think it's a great segue because we've already been going for 25
I
minutes.
know.
I think what needs to happen, guys, is I want you guys to all jump on board and give Tana a follow, because the next 3 months are just going to be amazing for you, miss. I can't wait to work with you along the way, help you more in your journey, and just get after that 3-month goal of let's get you hiking, let's get you bike riding, let's take one bite at a time and then get after those results. And I'm super excited for you, super pumped for you, and grateful to have you on board, Dustin, running tonight's call and just spreading the word.
That's what we got to do. Thank you all.
Thanks for
All
all
right,
the
guys.
great
Catch you
tips.
later.
All right.